If I may, I'd like to introduce to you Nikolai Lockertsen. He has, as I've previously mentioned, got a wealth of experience within the industry. Okay, looking at some of the information that he's provided for us here. Concept art, illustrator, animator, matte painter. Matte painting alone is a lost art, but it's absolutely beautiful. For those of you that are familiar with matte art, I'm such a fan. Skills and abilities cover concept art, environmental design, 3D animator, character design, creature design. There's so much that this gentleman has to offer, so it gives me great pleasure to introduce Nikolai. If you'd like to take the stage.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I'm gonna try to live up to it now. And thank you so much for inviting me here. It's really cool. So, yes, my name is Nikolai Lockertsen, and I work as a concept artist and illustrator and animator. That's sort of where my path has taken me over the almost 30 years now. So I'm going to show you some stuff while I talk, so it's a bit more interesting. So these are all, I do all my work on the iPad. So I only use Procreate and Procreate Dreams. So my demo will be in Procreate Dreams, which is it's a fairly new animation app. Hands in the air, how many use Procreate here? Cool. And how many have used Procreate Dreams or know about it? Yeah. That's good that you get a demo then. So these are a mix of concepts and commissions I did for various films, TV series, commissions for Procreate. I work a lot with them as well. So I'm part of the team in a way to give feedback on how the app works, also with Procreate Dreams. So I started out with 3D and did modeling and texturing and vehicle simulation and lighting. But then animation really got me. So I worked as a 3D animator for quite a few years. But I also loved the drawing. I grew up drawing. So I was like, what should I choose? Should I go for drawing or should I go for 3D animation? Which one should I sort of put all my money on? And it ended up being drawing. So when I discovered digital drawing, it was much more, you can bring out the light. You don't have to start on a white page. This was for a fun potato chip commercial. Maybe we can lower the lights in here, so it's because my demo is fairly dark, so you guys see it. Yeah. No, so concept art, character design, environment design, and it's basically the same for games and films, TV, animation, live action. The light is working against us. Yeah, cool. Yeah. No, so that's been my, for the past 15 years or so, it's been mainly concept art for mainly film, TV, animation, live action, but also some game stuff. And recently, like I missed animation. So when Procreate told me that they were going to do an animation app, I was pretty jazzed. And they told me like 5 years before it came out, and I probably thought about it every day. So it was almost like a curse knowing that this was coming, but it took so long. So, but now that it has arrived, let's jump over to Procreate Dream stuff. So these are some animations that I did. So I worked with the team on doing promo animations and to testing. So it's a very powerful app. Like you can do frame by frame animation, but also keyframe animation, and it has a lot of compositing power as well. So here are some examples. So I still do all my painting, like the environments in Procreate. You can do them in Dreams as well, but it's sort of more home for me in case of painting. And then all the animation is done in Dreams. So you can do kind of cool. It's all 2D. Like you can mimic 3D, which I will show you, but you can have also like pretty cool camera movements. You can also animate live. You can record live movement, which will work on camera in a way, like you just group stuff and you move the group around. So this was my latest commission for the Procreate Dreams 2 update. It's kind of like inspired by, I used to play Prince of Persia. I was a kid, and I love the Aladdin film, so it was kind of like a homage to these two things. This was a fun one. This was a animation I did for an Apple keynote when they introduced the Apple Pencil Pro, where you can roll the pencil. So I was actually sitting in the keynote behind James Kuda, the CEO of Procreate. And this is, all the backgrounds are painted 12K, so 12,000 pixels wide. And this is 200 tracks inside Procreate Dreams, and there's no render time. Like it's fluid. It's like nothing's there. So it's pretty crazy. Took me a lot of time to figure out the water, to get the water kind of looking cool here. So the guy in front, he's frame by frame animated, but the big monster is sort of rigged in a way. You can parent stuff and then you can keyframe animate. So that's what I did with the big guy in the background. This is a fun one. Watch the cat. Mhm. One more time. This one, I didn't tell the Procreate team I did this one because I wasn't sure they would go along with it, but I did it anyway. And this is sort of the furthest I take my painting in case of detail level. And I never use photo in my paintings. I did back when I was a matte painter, but this is all painted, and it's sort of fun to see how far I can push that. I didn't have that last gag in the beginning. I was just gonna have something horrible in there, but it's like they're never gonna show it then. So I had to put humor in there somehow. Yeah, this is all 2D. So you can fake, and all the lights, everything has to be painted. That's what I also love, that you get that the same painterly feel throughout the whole thing. Like any brush stroke is still there. Here's also a fun one. So this, I'm going to show you this one because the jellyfish is a loop, you know, of a jellyfish just standing still, and then you use the Apple Pencil to live animate the path of it. Show you a couple more. Yeah, we should be okay on time. So I love to sort of fake camera moves, make it look depth and 3D in a way. Yep, not the right alley to be in. Let me show you just a couple of more here. I'm pretty hung up with like depth in water. I think that's a fun thing to play around with. So this was like my first go at trying to make water look like water. What kind of tricks can you do in 2D to do that? And then I did this one too, just to... I have a video on YouTube which shows how I did this one. I have a YouTube channel you can check out. I also have some courses on schoolism.com if you want to go deep into this. And here's also a little longer video. Yeah, 2D. Okay, I think that's it for showing stuff. Let's do the demo. I think actually it would be good to get the lights even a little further down. So I have this scene that I painted in Procreate Dreams. No, in Procreate, sorry. So this is a hallway, like a futuristic sci-fi hallway. And my plan is to make this like you have a camera movement inside this. Well, that's dark enough. So I'm going to show you a little time-lapse replay of it. Which it doesn't want to do. Well, I can show you the beginning here. Typically how I begin a painting. So you have the perspective. This is 1-point perspective. And then I had one idea in the beginning here, which I didn't go with, but I changed it a bit from here on with a bit more of this sci-fi design. So it's just one perspective, but this perspective is also important when we pull it into Procreate Dreams to do the camera movement, because the vanishing point is key here. So this is something we will work with. And you see that I put stuff on like 3, you see the blue squares. So this is sort of 3 depths that I put stuff on. And this will, so these will help with the parallax and the 3D feel of it. So this is the finished painted scene. And I have the vanishing point here as a little thing. So when we pull it into Dreams, I will explain more. So let's open Procreate Dreams. And let's have 24 frames per second, 10 seconds. So here's our project. And then you can just drag your Procreate drawings into Dreams like this. So it comes in as a drawing. So if you press like edit drawing, you have all the layers. Everything is the same here. But I want to convert this to tracks. So I just did that. So we have them as tracks instead here now. And I'm going to scale the whole thing down a little so it's all still inside the frame, but that we see everything. So let me turn off a few things to simplify. So a few of these foreground layers. So it's basically a hallway, right? It's two side walls, a back wall, a ceiling, and a floor. And all the light and everything is just painted in there. So I have, let me just turn off the ceiling and pull down the background color a little. So you see here, we have the side walls, the back wall, and then this yellow square. This is really important for me to do the 3D setup in a way. This square will help me to keep the distance between the walls. So I will scale and translate stuff, but then the floor and the ceiling will be distorted. So if I turn on floor and the ceiling and I turn off the side walls, you see there's a yellow line on the side there on the floor and the ceiling. So it's a guide for me. So this will make sense as I go along here. But the first thing we will do is the side walls. So I'm going to turn off everything else. So, and they're painted, you see the picture is much wider and you can paint 16K, which I think this is. And you can, because we want that camera movement, we're going to need some space to move it on. So this is the right wall. I'm just going to rename stuff a bit. Which makes this one the left wall. So let's start with the left wall. So I want the camera movement to start camera left and then move to the right. So I will just take this, I will go into keyframe mode. You see I have 3 modes down there. We have perform, which is the live recording. You have compose, where you can move and scale stuff without putting keyframes. And then you have keyframe. So I'm going to go at the beginning here. And then I'm going to make sure this is where the vanishing point comes in. So I edit anchor point. This has to be exactly on the same spot as the vanishing point for this illusion to work. So I'm setting in the center there for both walls. And then in the beginning, I want to scale this so it's just still within the frame. And now this yellow square, just gonna move it down. So now this comes in handy. So in the beginning here, there is one little bug in Dreams that isn't fixed yet, where like you're supposed to be able to lock when you're opening these tracks, like the XY scale rotation. You can lock your movement to so when I'm on X now, I'm supposed to only move in X, but at the moment this is not working. So I do this little trick instead, that I do the keyframe here, and then in the beginning, I hold the extra finger down, it locks. So I just delete the Y because I only want that on X. So now we know one position. And then we can do the other wall. This one. give this a keyframe as well. And then you see it's a bit out there, right? But you see where the wall meets the corners of that yellow square. So this is like position number 1. And the same. So, and then we go to the last frame. So now this one dictates the last frame. So I push this as far as I did the first one. So not too far, but still within the frame. It was kind of fun to do this test and then send it to the Procreate guys because they didn't understand what the hell I was doing to their 2D app. How did you do 3D in our 2D app? But it's fun. Like, let me see here. So at the end. So now you have the 2 positions, right? So you see, it's working. So this is the first setup. Now the yellow square has sort of done its job. It's kept the distance between. So, and they're both scaling to the vanishing point. And then we can do the back wall as well. So I do the same here just to make sure I'm not pushing it up or down. I set the keyframe in the middle there. It's not always that this works. You can also go in here, tap and set 0. So you can do it by numbers if you want to. Later today, I'm going to do a workshop where I also show more frame by frame as well. But this one will be mainly just keyframes. So there we have, so that's just moving in an X, right? And now comes the, not difficult part, but a little more complicated. I'm going to duplicate my yellow square because I'm going to need it for the ceiling and the floor. So I duplicate that. I can turn off one of them and then just delete the frames. And I just need this one to be exactly on the border. Just going to scale down the whole project a little so I see a bit better. In the new update, you can see what's outside your canvas much better. You can slide that down, so that's coming. So I just need a guide for exactly the top and the bottom of where the content is, like this. So I can scale this down again. Or scale it up so we have the right framing. So down to the floor. And the floor is, I made the floor a little bigger. Like if I turn off, especially the back wall there, you see that the floor goes higher up. But there's a dot. There's a little line all up at the horizon line. And this helps us now because when I'm do the distorting, I don't have to worry about the top dots. I only need to move the bottom corners. So gonna go to keyframes, set a distort, and you can only distort, you can't distort a group or several layers at the same time, at least not yet. But you see now, you can move the whole bottom part. And you see my yellow lines there, which are painted, so when they disappear, I'm good. And then I follow the yellow line at the bottom, which I just set up with a square. So this should be a good first position. And then There's a good second position. So that should, oh, it's working. Okay, and do the same with the ceiling. There we go. On an earlier version, you couldn't move the whole two dots at the same time like I do now, and then it was a bit pain to get this right. Yeah, 3D. I'm coming here to you guys to explain about 3D. Yeah, that's the joke here. No, but this is cool because you can paint everything. You can paint the light. You paint everything from scratch and get exactly a specific look you might be after. So now for the stuff inside the room. So this is, we can remove the vanishing point now. It did the job. So here too, I will give a key, and this will just move in X as well. So when I painted this, I painted so that it makes sense to where it is in the room. So on the wall, like the stuff up in the ceiling, it disappears into the black areas. So it looks like it makes sense. I sort of could have a square there as well to kind of help me guide that, but it, even though this is just a flat paint, you can, with the shading and everything, you can give it depth, right? So you can, it's fun what you can get away with and still make it look like volumetric shapes. So for this one, this is why I wanted it to be pretty dark in here, because this scene is pretty dark. It's hard to, it'll be hard to tell. Let me see, did I get this right? There. And it always helps to have a few of these layers in between. Like the hallway does the job, but it's always nice to have this parallax, right? You can really sell the depth. I'll do some other fun stuff to this scene once we got this stuff done. I think it's about here. Yeah, so here we go. 3D, or nice depth to it. And we can, you can paint in layers of haze and stuff. I'll show you some fun stuff that you can also do. We're fairly good on time. So with this one, for example, this where this light is gonna go into that layer. So anything if I put a new track in here, a new drawing, this is already animated. So you're gonna have whatever I do in here will stick to that correct depth, right? If I go out now, this will stick to that group. And I'll put this into add mode. because I want some sort of flickery light on this light here. So I'll put it into add. But I'm not very happy with this exact drawing. So some nice flare going through here. And you can just import your brushes from Procreate. They will work the same. Or Photoshop brushes also work in Procreate and Dreams. Some airbrush as well here. The painting experience is the same as in Procreate. Something like this. So now it has that extra strong light. And I'm going to perform a filter. So you can perform different stuff. So I want the opacity filter to be performed. And then you can adjust the motion filtering. Like the lower it is, the more any little movement you give, it will transfer. And this is like smoothing your animation curves in a way. So I'll show you a little more how that works. But I'll put it all the way down because I want every little jittery movement to function. So I'm gonna give it an opacity key. And then as soon as I start moving here now, it will record my movements. See that flickery light? This would take time to animate by hand in a way, right? Do some other fun stuff. Let me just call this light group. Give it a color. I like these highlights. And then we can add a new track, add a new drawing. It's going to be a very advanced drawing, this one. It's going to take some time. Let me see here. There it is. So, do you see it? Here? This. So it takes skill, it takes years to be able to do something like this. But now, with this little thing, I'm actually going to put this in screen mode. So this will be a little fly, and we can perform that it's like more mosquito sound. Let's see. Yeah. It's very like it's been drinking Red Bull, this one. Like it's not good at all. Let me so you can thank you, light. So I'll put up the motion filtering so it's a bit more chill fly. It's going to exit the frame now. Move. Yeah, that's a bit more docile. Let's do one more. It's always fun to do two of them. They work well together. And you can try to follow one with the other. So again, the advanced drawing. Yeah. to catch the other one now. But a few details like this makes a scene come to life, right? And I want to do a dripping. So let me add a new track. And then I'm gonna go out of the perform mode. I'm gonna make another drawing. This is one of my favorite brushes. Like, you don't have quick shape yet in Procreate, so I have a few brushes that are just like this or like this. You know, they're awesome. I use them all the time. So I'm gonna, this little thing, this line, this will be where a drop will drip. But I'm gonna make a group out of this one and then animate the group. So it's inside a group here now. Just give it a name. I'm gonna just keep adding stuff till they pull me off stage. So we'll see how much time I have. So until when can I go? Like another 5? Okay. Shit. That's very short. Okay. So I'm just looking at the ground there for like a little dot, a speck or something I can follow. So maybe this part there, that's a good spot. So over here, I think I need to turn off the foreground. So there. And there. So that sticks fairly well. It's just the top part that is a little. I'm going to set the anchor point at the bottom now. So when I scale it, it will scale towards the bottom. Don't want any more keys. Yeah, so it kind of comes from that dark area. Okay. So now the group has the right animation. And here is sort of the drop path. And then I will just add a new track, add a new drawing. Again, very advanced drawing, so take notes. Whoops, that's the wrong brush. Don't put that in your notes. So this here, like this. So we actually don't need it all the way at the beginning. This will be one drop, so it's gonna be pretty fast. And now we can clip mask this one to our line. Mask, clip mask. And on the line itself, I will put a hue saturation brightness filter, put it all the way down so it's black. And then on the first part here, I'm going to give it a keyframe. So on the first one is just, you can just see it. And then a drop. How quick is a drop, right? We can just test. So I'm going to expand here, and then on Y, I'm going to take it all the way down. So like this. And we can delete the X. But here, I want the easing, like now it's going to look like this, like a generic movement. We want it to start slow. So we do the ease in. And whatever you see here on the timeline, this is what it's going to play back. Two minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna just chop this off here. So now we have this little boop, boop. Okay, and then another drawing, super advanced drawing. A little splash. Just gonna split that, so I only have how many frames? 1, 2, 3, 4. Set the anchor point to where the drop lands. Scale down there on the first one. Second frame, bigger, even a little bigger. So, bloop, something like this. Maybe one more. But then we also keyframe opacity. So one keyframe there, and then nothing there. So this one can be linear, because once you set your, yeah, kind of works, right? But then we set the whole group in screen mode, because then it removes that black line. And we can also pull down the opacity a little, so that looks better. And if we want more drops, we can just duplicate these suckers. Have a few of them. Something like this. Let me see. Yeah. Turn on the foreground again. The little drip. Okay, I'm gonna do one more thing before they pull me off stage. So we have now a very like controlled sideways camera movement, but if you want like this nice handheld feel to it, just gonna go in the beginning, scale it a little up so we have a bit more freedom of movement, and then perform. Yeah, motion filtering a bit up. Just gonna start over here so we have the whole range. And now put in some of that handheld scary movement. I think I almost see the background now, but so you can add that on top. So you can sort of layer your, I'm gonna be seasick. Wait a minute, it's a little too much. Okay, a bit more motion filtering. But this sort of organic movement is so nice that it's so quick to do. It gives a totally different feel to the scene. Well, I guess that's all I had time for. Thank you. Maybe some Q&A?
Definitely going to be Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple of little things I'd like to just go through with you that I've noticed there. It's easy to see how your skills and abilities, knowing matte painting the way you do and illustration, are coming through. Where would you personally have you been using this in the professional industry? I can see how this stuff can aid towards understanding of like storyboarding, but do you actually plan a storyboard for yourself, or do you just kind of like get a feel for the scene and just, or do you even write a script for what you want to lay out?
Yeah, like something like this is I don't write a script or anything. It's more an idea that I want to test out with just an empty room in a way. So it's more like doing a concept for the room. But of course, with animations like with this fox, for example, then I definitely do storyboarding and find sort of the key points and block it out. And because the background painting is much bigger as well, because it's going under the water, so it has to extend downwards. So then it's more planning.
It's impressive as hell. It really is. I mean, the quality of the artwork just alone on some of the roots of the trees there is just, and the detailing is just exquisite in all areas.
Well, thank you so much.
Also, what about the application for some of these shorts? These like 10 seconds, 20 seconds, where are they being used? Are they being used, or could they be used for, say, like advertisements, or are they like game intros? Where are they being used?
They're mainly used as promotional material for Procreate, to promote Procreate Dreams.
The application itself rather than any particular product?
Yeah, because it's like I worked with them for 2 years only doing these promotional animations.
Yeah.
But I also have done like a intro for Lightbox Expo, and then I did some animation work for NRK. But it's like I used to be a 3D animator, but I'm a fairly new 2D animator. So it's like I've done concept art for a long time, but I in a way started with this with 2D animation. So I haven't done that many other gigs outside Procreate as an animator.
And you're still working for them? Currently still working for them?
Yeah, do commissions every now and then, but at the moment I'm working on a different project as a concept artist. Yeah.
Personal project?
No, feature film animation.
Get your questions ready for later, right? Okay. Nikolai, that was absolutely incredible. I enjoyed every minute of that. And I can see the development. You know, I can look at it and I go, that's an element, you know, and I recognize that tool. I see this in Photoshop. I understand this from Editor and Premiere. And the combination of it all coming together to produce this kind of application in the way that it does, I think I've got to get myself a copy of that.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to see what I can dig up and put together that, especially because I can see the relevance of what you're putting together there and how we can incorporate it into our lessons and lectures, especially for elements of like understanding film language and storyboarding, pre-visualization, all that kind of area that we study here at the university.
Yep.
Nikolai, thank you very, very much. That was incredibly
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.